Well, here we are at the end of our trip, and we've had a good week. We've seen a lot of London, or a lot of England actually. We spent probably more time out in the country, which was a lot better because London gets pretty frustrating. And we had some good experiences, especially the recording session was probably the highlight of the trip. We really enjoyed the musicians and they're just very, very talented, extremely beautiful music. It seemed to go very smooth. It was just a miracle that the session finished when it did. Now we're on our way to Gatwick International, the airport. On our last leg of our journey, we just returned our rental car, which we've had now for a week. It was really worth having, not so much in London. It's a pain actually to have it in London, but we couldn't get it back to the agency, so we kept it on until we came out here this morning on our way to the airport. And it's Sunday morning, and it's a foggy day, but it's really nice. It's warm. What would you say, about 40 degrees out there probably? And
there's even some blue sky up there.
We found there was no traffic on a Sunday, so it's a good time to be on the road, traveling. Nothing is very crowded. Most people take the Sunday off. All the shops we saw on the way were closed, and everybody stays pretty much at home with their family on Sunday. What do you think, Lauren? Excited to get home?
Time to go home.
Time to go home. Tunnel coming up here. Let's see, we got here on Monday, and we drove over to Bath. We spent some time looking at our ancestry. We got a nice bed and breakfast over there. It cost us about $30, and we stayed overnight. The next morning we walked around town and saw the Bath Abbey, and we went through the Roman baths. That was really interesting. We also went to a cemetery where my great-great-great-grandfather was buried. We found some Kirkham graves there, although we didn't find his particular grave. They assured us that the grave was in the cemetery. And so that was really interesting. We saw he was a Catholic. We saw the church where he went. He was buried in 1805 before the church was even restored. The next stop on our trip was Bristol. We just passed through it. It's the port city. And from there we went north to Stratford-upon-Avon. And that worked out really well. We got there just about dark and went to the Royal Shakespeare Theatre and watched the Royal Shakespeare troupe put on the production Kiss Me Kate, which is a takeoff of The Taming of the Shrew. They were very, very good. It was, to me, one of the highlights of the trip. And the next morning, we got up and we toured a little bit around Stratford-upon-Avon, went to the house where Shakespeare was born, a very old home, built in the 1500s. From there, we left and drove on into London. When we got to London, what did we do then, Lauren, when we got to London?
Royal
Festival. Yeah, we drove to the Royal Festival Hall, where we saw the Insurance Philharmonic play, and they played the Symphony Espagnole that we played in our orchestra, so that was fun for me to listen to that. It had a very good soloist, and the hall was not too crowded, so we were able to sit both in the front and in the back. The concert, we drove around a bit looking for a bed and breakfast, but they're impossible to find in London. So we decided, since we were going to go to the temple the next day, that we just get on our way. And we drove out there, and we ended up out there about 2 in the morning. We found a hotel just before they were closing. We got a room. It cost us probably the most of any room that we bought, which was 60 pounds, or 40 pounds, $60. And it was terrible. Our apartments on Poline Road would be better than that was. But the next day we got up and we went down to the temple, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Frozen foods is this way and on your left. And so, to continue our diary, our journal of what we did, we got to the temple very late that night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we found a hotel that was still open. It was quite expensive and not very classy, but beggars can't be choosers, so we stayed there, and it seemed like a very brief night's sleep. We got up for the early morning session, which was 10 o'clock.
It was a brief night's sleep. We didn't get to bed till 3 or 2.
Oh, yeah. And we got to the temple at about 10:02 because we kind of got stuck in traffic and whatnot. So we missed the 10 o'clock session and decided that the best thing to do was to wait and go to the 1 o'clock. So we waited around the temple and we ate there, ate lunch. I looked at the microfiche that had the genealogical records of people in London. Loren talked to all the missionaries there about the new productions that they're doing. They're here to record. And then at 1 o'clock we went on over for our session. And the temple was wonderful. The people are really, really kind and accommodating. I think they are. And the temple is laid out differently, quite a bit differently than we're used to, and I think the entire feeling there is a lot different. They have so many different customs and things that you do different at their temple. For instance, you lock up all of your valuables in the ante next to the robbery, and we went through a session and enjoyed it very much. After the session, we went into, what did we do after the session? Oh, Loren then did a ceiling session with his friends who showed up late for the 4 o'clock or for the 1 o'clock session. And I decided to head off for Greenwich to try to do a little genealogical investigation. But my efforts were futile, and I really didn't get to see and do what I wanted to do because by the time I got to Greenwich it was just too late. And after we met up later that night at the hotel where Loren's friends were staying, and we went back, I guess, and went to bed that night. Is that when we found our hotel, Loren? Mm-hmm. We found our hotel with the aid of a little chap that was, he looked like Brent Cottle with red hair, and he was a really friendly and accommodating chap, and he shopped around for us and found us a hotel that normally rents for 88 pounds for only 40 pounds a night, which was a steal, $60 a night. It was a steal for that. Everything was renting for like $150 a night. We were shocked. It was a 5-star and a wonderful place to stay, right next to the place where we did the session the next day, and we spent our day doing that. In the evening we tried to catch a show. We went to 2 or 3 different places, but there wasn't anything that there was tickets left for. And so we had a real nice dinner out on the town, and we went to bed last night, talked probably till 1:30, got up this morning at 6, brought our car back. Anyway, we've had a great time, and I think that it'd be fun to do it again, maybe with the family and kids in a few years.
Our flight was still airborne. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd caution you, however,